Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Disu and you're watching Data Science with Disu. So this is the fifth session that we are going to start in the SQL series that we have started. Last 4 session में हमने cover up किया है fundamentals of database management system. Then we have seen different data types that is present in SQL. And then we have moved forward for the SQL commands जहाँ पे हमने DDL and DML that is data definition language and data manipulation language cover up कर लिया है. Now in this session we are going to start the functions in SQL. So just like you have seen functions in Python जहाँ पे आप different functions जो भी Python में inbuilt function available होते हैं आप उन functions को use करके directly आप कुछ operations कर सकते हो. In the similar fashion SQL में भी कुछ inbuilt function होते हैं जिनका आप use कर सकते हो to find out many more things. So if you see some of the broad categorization of functions in SQL, so they are categorized like a numeric function, then we have character function, then conversion function, date function and aggregate functions. So as the name suggests, numeric functions will be applicable on the values that is having a numeric data type. Then there is a character data type, so on which we can apply character functions. Then we have conversion functions, so we will look into it what is actually conversion function. Basically we need to convert some of the data type, so we can convert that thing and there are many more things that we can do, so we will see. Then date function, जितने भी date से related चीज़ें हैं like we can add one extra month to the date that is present, we can find the difference between two dates, all of these things. Then we have aggregate functions, so aggregate function we will look at, we have seen that thing in Python like aggregate function basically sum mean max all of these things जो कि basically multiple rows पे operate होते हैं and it will give the single output. So we'll look into it all of these things one by one. So this was a categorization based on the data types that we have present in the SQL. Then we have a different type of categorization that is called single row and the multiple row function. So what kind of categorization is that? So it is based on the two facts that is operates on and returns. Like single row function will operate on a single row and returns also single row, while multi-row function will operate on the multiple row but returns a single row. So aggregate function जो भी हैं that comes under multi-row function because they will operate on the multiple rows but give output or returns as a single row. So just for the clarification we can see an example. Let's say this example, so we have a function that is called upper. So what will upper do? Basically it will just change any character to uppercase. So we have, let's say, James Potter, Ethan McCarthy, these are in like a mixed uppercase and lowercase, but if you apply upper, what will happen? It will change to the uppercase. So you can see now it is a type of single row function because it applies on every row and it will change every row to uppercase. But if you see the second one, this is an aggregate function sum, so it is going to sum the salary. So whatever we have in the salary column, it will sum all of these salaries. So if you sum, it will give a single value ना, so it is applying on the multiple rows. So अगर यहाँ पे और भी सारे values होंगे salary के, वो सारे salary add कर देगा and after that it will just return the single value of total salary. So this is a single value that we are returning and it is applying on the multiple row. So that means this is a multi-row function applied on a multiple rows and returns a single row. So this is just a simple example that we have given. So let us first start with a numeric function that we have. So numeric function में basically 4 functions आते हैं. So this is some of the main function that I have defined, but maybe there are some other function that is possible, but these are the main functions that we have in the numeric function. First one is what? ABS. So what is ABS? That is a short form of absolute. So as the name suggests, absolute means जो भी आप number दोगे, it will return the absolute value. So that means if you provide negative number also, it will provide the positive number. So absolute just return a value of a number. If you are providing it -2, it will return as a 2. So it doesn't matter what sign we have, plus minus, it will always return in the plus. That means positive number. Second, we have round function. So round is basically used to rounding of the number. Let's say you have a number which is having 5.2. So if you round that number, let's say you want 0 digit after the decimal. That means if you're rounding off, it should have no any numbers after the decimal. So if you round up that, it will become 5 because it rounds up to the nearest integer. If you have, let's say 5.26 and let's say you want to round off up to one decimal point. So what will happen? It will just convert to 5.3 because 26 is nearest to 3. So that is how it will just round off. So you have two values arguments, you have a value and the digit. So आप specify करना चाहते हो decimal के बाद कितना digit होगा. Let's say in that case the value will be 5.26 and the digits will be 1 because you want just one digit after the decimal. So that is how you can convert that. Then you have a ceil function. So what is a ceil function? It's round off the fractional value to next integer. So let's say for example if you are rounding off 5.2 to let's say without, let's say digit is 0, so in this case it is happening like it is rounding up to 5, but if you apply ceil on it, it will round off to 6. So it is rounding off to the integer but not the lowest integer, to the next integer. So 5.2 का lowest integer तो 5 है, but the next integer is what, 6. So that is why it will return 6 because ceil function का काम यही है. But if you apply the floor, it is just opposite of ceil function. So what ceil do, it rounds off to the next integer while the floor rounds off to the lower integer. So if you apply floor on that, if you apply floor, it will return 5. If you apply ceil, it will return 6. So this is how some numeric function works. So let's directly jump into the Python editor that we are using since last 3 sessions. So on which we are going to look at how we can directly use that thing. So we have 4 things: ABS, then round, then we have ceil, and then we have floor. So we are going to look at all of these things one by one. So let me just comment out for now all of these things. I've just mentioned that 4 here just not to forget. Cool. So let's use all of these things one by one. So let's take some of the tables. Let's say if you take the order table here, let's say customer table. So if you see what is the value that is present in customer table, these are some of the tables that are already available here. So just for the example, these tables are already made here so that you can use. Cool. You can see this is the table that we have, but I can see there are no any like values which are in negative and like decimals, so that we can use those things. So I'm going to pause the video and quickly add a table here, create a table and insert some of the values so that I can use all of these functions. So I will quickly pause this video and make this table so that the length of the video will be not so longer. Cool. So you can see I have created a table that is called employees, and the value are like this. We have columns like employee ID, then name, department, salary, bonus, and hire date. So these are some of the values that I have entered in this table. So let's quickly apply some of the functions, numeric functions that we have seen. So let's say I'm commenting out and I'm finding out some of the, let's say select, let's say I want to find out the difference between salary and bonus, but I am let's say I am subtracting, let's say select a bonus minus salary. So obviously if you subtract this thing, it will come negative. You can see now because always the salary is greater than the bonus, but I want to apply this ABS function. So what I can do, I can do ABS here, and let's say, and then you can give an alias name for that. So let's say the difference that will be coming here, what will be the alias name that you want to give. Let's say salary underscore bonus diff. This is the column name that you want to give. Let's say from table employees, and let's say along with that you want to find out the you want to fetch out the employee ID and let's say name. Cool. So these are the things that you want to fetch out. If I run that, you can see we have employee ID, the first thing that I have fetched, then we have a name, then the difference between bonus and salary. So you can see now, even if the difference between bonus and salary is negative, if I want to show you, if I don't apply ABS function, now you can see all of these numbers are coming in negative. But if I apply ABS, it is just converting that into positive numbers. So ABS का काम ही यही है, जो भी negative numbers हो, जो भी difference आप निकाल रहे हो, अगर negative भी आएगा, so it will convert that into positive. अगर positive है then it is okay, अगर नेगेटिव है it will convert that into positive. Next we are going to look at round function. So first of all, to apply round function we don't have a decimal value, so what we can do, we can create a decimal number. Let's say in the bonus, not bonus, in salary, let's say in salary you are adding bonus, and let's say you are dividing bonus by let's say 3. So this will make sure कि आपका जो number आएगा that will be in decimal. So what we can give a column name, let's say salary underscore bonus, let's say div. If I run that thing, no, it's not coming in the decimal yet. So again I think I'm using this online SQL editor, और उसमें I think by default it is rounding off. So let's make sure what we can do, or we can add something, let's say 5.7. if I add that thing and salary, let's say decimal, this will make sure okay, it will be having a decimal number. Cool. So we have some of the decimal number, let's say. Now if you want to let's say apply round on that, and instead let's say I will add 5.77 so that it will be having 2 decimals. So if I show you, this is the 2 decimal that we have. If I apply round, what will happen? Or to apply round, first of all you have to give a round bracket, and inside that this is the value that we have, and then comma, up to which decimal point, let's say up to 1 decimal point I want the round of numbers. So you can see it is rounding off up to 0.8 because it was 0.77. if we round off it will be having 0.8. if I just give 0, what will happen? It will just round off. That means there is no any numbers after the decimals, so it is just rounding off up to the next number. So this is how you can use the round. Then next we have cell. So we can use cell. How we can use cell? So cell, let's say we don't need to give any here numbers, just cell. And yes, if you don't apply cell, what's the value that we have? First of all we need to see that this is the value that we have. So obviously if you apply cell, it will be having the next integer. So ये क्या हो जाएगा? 60,006 हो जाएगा, then 55,006, then 62,006. So it will be, all the numbers will be ending with 6, I think. So if you do cell, this is the number that we have. You can see this is the number that we have. And if you want to make sure that it is not rounding off, you can also check for the 27. So even if there is a 27, if you round off this, it will be actually 60,005. But if you apply cell, you can see it is going to up to the next integer. So you can see 60,006. And if I apply floor, in that case it will be the lowest integer, that means 60,005. So this is how you can use all the numeric function abs, round, cell and float. So this was just a basic thing. I just wanted to show you कि SQL में इसको यूज कैसे करते हैं. Cool. So we have seen all of these 4 functions, how we can use that in SQL. Next we are moving to other character functions. So character functions में भी basically there are 4 basic functions that we have: upper, lower, concat and length. So upper and lower is just converting the uppercase and lowercase, nothing else. Concat is similar to just adding 2 string. So if you have seen in Python how we can add 2 string, in a similar fashion, if you want to concat 2 values, you can use that concat. It will just add them together as a string. Then we have length. Length is just returning the number of characters in a value. So let's look all of these things one by one. So the first thing that we are going to look at is the upper. So upper is just going to uppercase the characters. So you have already seen, but let's say select name. We have name, select name from employees. So this is the name that we have. Now what I will do, along with that I will do upper and then name. Now if I run, you can see there is a column that is upper name, and you can give an alias name to that column so that it will come here. So you can see all the names has been converted into uppercase. If you do lower, it will just convert into the lowercase. You can see even if you use a smaller case lower, it is okay. You can also use in the uppercase the same thing. You can see it is just converting into the all into the lowercase. So this was upper and lower. Next we have is the concat. So what's the concat? Let's see what we can do with the concat. Let's say we have a two column name, string column, yeah, name and department. So this is the employee table that we have. Inside that there are two columns that contain some of the string value or the character values. So if I want to concat both of them, what will happen? Let's say if I do select concat, and if I provide name comma department, what will happen? Let's say I want to also fetch the employee ID. So if I want to fetch the employee ID also, I can give it here, and yeah, from employees. So let's see what will be the result. No such function concat. Okay, so again this compiler is so we don't have this concat function in this compiler, but yeah, the concept is that these two values will be combined together, it will be concatenated, and there will be new column that is having the these two values together. That means John Day and engineering will be together as a string. So this is the basic concept behind then concatenation. So you can apply this concept in different SQL environment, but for this environment it is not supporting. So let's move forward for the next thing that we have, that is called a length function. So what is a length function? That we can see it here. Let's see if that supports. I have chosen a very bad compiler. There are many functions that it is not supporting. Let's say I'm applying length and the name, and again here name. Now if I run that thing, let's say I'm giving an alias name length, so it will just find out the length of all the names that we have. So you can see this is the employee ID we have, this is the name that we have, and we have created a column that is called name length, in which we are just counting the length of the characters that we have in the any name. So if you can notice one thing, in a name John Doe, we have 4 characters of John, then 3 characters of Doe. So it should be actually 7, but there is a space between them, so it is counting a space as also as a character. So in the same function we have seen that in Python में भी space को as a character consider करता है, and it count that character also. Similarly you can see in SQL also it is counting that thing. So it is just finding out the length of characters we have. So that's it. These are the some of the 4 basic character functions that we have. Next, so we have seen all of these things. Next we are going towards substr. So substr is a concept which is basically based on the slicing concept that we have seen in the Python. So Python में slicing क्या होता है? Let's say there is a string that we have database, inside which indexing start from, in Python indexing start from 0, but in function like in SQL indexing start from 1. So this is the one of the biggest difference between them. So if you start in the if you do slicing in the Python, what will happen if you want to find out the base? So in that case what we'll do, let's say this is the database we have, let's say this is a, if you give a variable name a, so a, then you do slicing. Let's say you have to start from here, so this is the 5th character we have, that means the 4th index, and then colon, and then the if you don't give any like ending character, it will take all the last 4 characters we have. So this is how you can find out in the Python. But in SQL what will happen, you have to apply a function that is called substr, and inside that you have to pass the value that on which you are just finding out the substr means it is a short form of subset of the string. So this is the string that we have, and we are finding out the subset of that. So this is the string, and what is the value that it is representing? 5. So this is the starting index that we have. So in SQL indexes start with 1, so 5 will be this one, and after that you are not giving any ending index, so that is why it will take all the characters after that. That is why it is returning base. In this case you can see substr, same word, and we have started with free and ending with free also. So this is one of the catch in SQL. So जैसे मैंने बोला था कि this is the starting index, जो बाद वाला index होता है that is not actually ending index. So if you can see it is starting with 3. So this is the third index in SQL, start with 1, but this is not the ending index. It is the number of characters that you want to find out as a substr. So that means if you want to find out 3 characters out of that, and starting with the third index, so this is the third index, after that 3 characters is tab, so that is why it is returning tab. So that means always remember this is not the ending index. Python में this second index is actually ending index. अगर ये ending होता है तो 3 से start 3 पे end, that means it will just take only t only, but it is taking tab, that means see, this is representing the number of characters that you want instead the ending index. So this is one of the important concept that we have in the substr. So let us look out some of the examples which will clear out if you have any doubt yet. So let's say for our name, let's say this is the name that we have, we want to apply substr on that. So what will happen, substr, and then this is the name that we have. Let's say I want to find out the characters after, let's say, the 5th index, and I want just 2 characters after that. So let's say the alias name will be name underscore substr. Let's say instead of 2, let's say we want 3 characters. Now if I run that, you can see this is the result that we have. Now if you clearly observe, you can see we have to start with the 5th character. So first, second, third, fourth, and the 5th character is a space here. So a space is the 5th character, and then we have to take 3 characters. So a space do. So this is what it is returning. So if you see here do only 2 character, it is not actually 2 character, we are having 3 characters. There is a space, starting character is a space. So that is why it is just by looking at, we can see that this is the just 2 characters, but we have 3 characters here. Similarly, you can see before sm we have a space. Here you can see in that case there is no any space, that is why it is returning 3 characters ael. And here you can see y after that, y is the 5th character, then after that we have a space, then d. Similarly here d, then a space, then b. So this is how you can apply substr on that. So I think substr part is clear. Next we have some of the conversion functions. So what do conversion function do? It can convert the data type. Let's say there is a value and there is a format, and you want to change to char. So that means every value will be changed to the character data types. So if you have, let's say, some of the values, so it converts a number or a date to a string. So if you have, let's say, a number that is 50 and you want to convert that into character, so instead of 50 as a number, it will be character, that means it will be in a string, like that. So you can just use to_char, which will convert this into character. You can have like date also. Then we have toDate. So if you provide any string, it will convert to that into date. So in many cases what happens, some of the columns contain date value, but they are actually not in the date format, they are actually in string format, that means char format. So what you can do, you can change them to the date formats using this. Then there is a toNumber also. So there are also some of the values that are actually looks like number, let's say 20, 25. This looks like number, but they are stored as a character or a varchar number. So in that case you can use toNumber to convert them into number. So let us see some of the conversion function that we have seen. So let's say first of all, this is the table that we have, employee table, and inside it there is a column that is called hire date, and this is having date data types. So when I was defining this table, I put that column as a data type as a date. But let's say you want to fetch out, let's say first of all you want to fetch out employee ID. Cool. Next we are going to fetch out the hire date, but we want to find out that as a string instead of date. So if you want to find out that into what you can use to_char. So it will convert that, and there is a format. First of all, the first value is the value that you want to convert, and the second is the format. So what is that for format argument? In which format this date is available. This is the format that we have. So let's say this is YYY, then we have and then day. So this is the format that we have, so we can apply that thing. And let's say if I run that, what will happen? Oh, I have not given the table from, my mistake. No such function to care. Arey yaar, again I don't know why I have choose this compiler just to show you the examples, because बहुत सारे functions काम ही नहीं कर रहे हैं. So here again to care is not working here, my bad. But yeah, this is how it will work. So this is the complete syntax that you can use. So what it will do, it will just fetch all of this higher date but as a string value, not as a date format. So why we actually do that? So there are some requirements. It depends on the scenario, in which scenario you want a number as a string or a string as a number. So it depends. So yeah, this is how you can use all of these conversion functions. So you can definitely try out all of these things in different SQL editor, but yeah, this is how it will work. So next we are moving towards some of the date function that we have. First is the sysdate, then systimestamp, add months between. So sysdate is just returning the current date. So if you want to return current date, in that case you will use sysdate. And if you want to show the current date with timestamp, you can use systimestamp. So it will return actually current timestamp, that means the date and the time also. Add months, if you want to add some months to any existing date, you can use add months. Months between, if you want to find out the difference between two dates and in terms of month, that means if this is one of the date, let's say you have 23 April, let's say this is the date on which I'm recording, and this is date 2, let's say some previous date, let's say 22nd of March. So in that case, what will be the month difference that will be coming? That will be 1 actually. So this is not the just a single way of finding out the month between two dates, but this is one of the way of finding out that. So this is one of the functions that we have in the SQL, months between, that we can use to find out months between two dates. So you might be thinking that I'm going very fast forward, but yeah, this is very basic things. I don't want to waste time on these things because there are many more important things that will be coming up in future. Those things I will be discussing in detail. Next we are having some of the aggregate functions. So aggregate functions as some average, min, max, count, all of these things. We have seen all of these things in Python. So you know the basic things, what is actually all of these aggregate function, but I will show you just simple syntaxes in SQL how we can use all of these things. Let's say in our employees table you want to find out all of the salaries. So what you can do, select sum salary, you can give an alias name as total salary, and then you can select the table employees. If I just run that, you can see this is the sum of the all salaries that we are getting as a total salary. So this is one of the aggregate function that we have as a sum. If you apply count, what will happen? Let's say count means, so let's say you want to find out some of the rows that how many rows that you have. So what you can do, you can just simply run count star, not as a total salary, as a count actually. So it will return let me run that. Yeah, so you can see count 5. So we have total 5 rows, that is why it is returning 5. Now you can just give any condition along with that, where let's say salary, let's say you want to find out rows which are having salary greater than 55,000. in that case it is returning 4. That means you have only 4 columns that is having salary greater than 55,000. So you can see for Jane Smith it is 55,000, and for others it is greater than 55,000. That is why it is returning 4. Then if you want to find out the minimum salary, so you can find out the minimum salary, mean salary as min salary, and it will return minimum salary. And along with that I can find out the maximum salary also. So maximum salary as max salary. This is how you can run, and you can see this is the minimum salary, this is the maximum salary we have, and it is returning 58,000 for minimum salary. Interesting, it is 55. Oh, we have given a condition. We are just taking all of this salary we are greater than If I remove that condition, then 55,000 will be the minimum and maximum 65. Yeah, cool. So all of this thing we have seen. Last we have, I think, left with average. So you can also find out average salary. So let's say I'm not giving alias name for that. Average salary is the 60,000. So all of this salary has been averaged, and this is the average salary we have. How we can find out the average? Sum of all the salary divided by the number of salary, that means 5. So this is how we can find out the average salary. Cool. So that is also done, some of the aggregate function that we have seen. Cool. So that was it from this session. This was the last thing, aggregate function in the SQL function that we have seen. So these functions are nothing but a simple basic function that we have in SQL that we can use while querying something. Let's say you are applying some of the selected statement to query something, fetch out data something. In that case, you want to apply some of the conditions. In that condition, these functions and aggregate functions and all other functions to convert data type, to apply substr, then lowercase, uppercase, all of these things comes very handy, and it becomes important to apply all of these functions. So that is it from this session, and I will recommend you to join the WhatsApp community that we have. So I'm going to give some of the quizzes on these sessions that we have covered up. So I have already given some of the quiz questions for the starting 2 sessions, but after that we have done 2-3 sessions more on which I'm going to give some of the quiz questions. So if you join that community, it will be an interactive learning for you, because you can also ask some of the doubts there. That's a free support that I'm providing, and in return I'm just asking you to just like the video and share the video and subscribe this video, so that it will support me to regularly upload all of these contents. So if you have any doubt in this session, you can ask in the comment box, or you can join the WhatsApp community. You can also ask there. So that's it from this session. We'll meet in the next session. Till then, take care. Goodbye.